Alright, this is my post Worldcon video, and before I get a bunch of emails and Facebooks, I know I look really tired, because I am. I got a good night's sleep last night. The lighting in here is really bad, first of all. And I got these bags under my eyes, but pretty tired from staying up late at Worldcon every night, and then like I said, got a good night's sleep last night. We're in Fredericksburg, Texas right now in a 1960s German motel. Fredericksburg's a nice little colonial German village in the hill country in Texas. And we were heading home. We decided to stop last night, and then we found out it's raining pretty hard on our ranch, so we didn't want to go fight the mud, so we're going to stay here until the rain lets up a little bit. So I wanted to kind of do an update on what's going on, or what I learned at Worldcon, etc. We had a great time. We had a lot of fun. I think we got in on Thursday night and got checked into the motel, and then Friday morning Jennifer and I went and checked in at Worldcon and paid the fee, the membership fee and all that, and then signed up for the Stroll with the Stars, which is this ribbon here. And the thing is that I don't know much about who the people are to know in sci-fi, so I didn't really know anybody that was on any of the stars that were there. And so we stayed on the Stroll with Stars about 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And having not had breakfast, we stopped at the first Riverside restaurant and ate breakfast and let the tour go on. But I got the ribbon anyway, so we got that going for me. And then we hung out at the Worldcon and kind of got to meet some people and see some things, and then around lunchtime, I got a text from Hugh Howey that he was there and wanted to meet for lunch. So we went over, and this is like just showing. I look like a jihadi with this shirt, without my suspenders on. I look like I'm about to pronounce a jihad, a fatwa on Worldcon or something. But I need a big black flag back here. So, anyways, we met. We called Danielle, and she met us, and we had lunch. And I've had these pictures on my Facebook, but I'll put them on my blog here when I get done. And so we had the red eye is from the allergies. This is cedar season, and this area is like the capital, the world capital of cedar allergies. So that's the reason. That and the fact that I'm tired. I look a lot worse than I am. So, anyways, where was I? We had lunch with Hugh, and then went back to the con, and he took us around, which was awesome because we had this thick book. It's around here somewhere. Let me get it. This is the handbook they give you, and it's like 200 pages. And I know that some of the writer people I know were saying that they didn't see any value in going to this if you weren't there as a speaker, or if people didn't know who you were. I disagree completely. They had at least 20 or more events going on every hour for 5 days. And so you get this catalog, and this tells you what's going on. And we really didn't know much about how these things work. And so Hugh took us around, and then spent a bunch of time with us and took some pictures, and then actually went with us to the George R.R. Martin reading, where he was reading a chapter from the next volume of the Game of Thrones series, which was kind of interesting. His reading wasn't interesting to me at all. I read the first 3 books of the Game of Thrones and kind of gave up. But his talk afterwards, after his reading, was very fascinating, very educational. So we learned how to use this book, and You know, it's just really really cool. You know, they had stuff going on, and for you writers who have never done one of these, they have hour-long panels on things that are topics that you may use or things you may use in your books. 18th century weaponry, uh, colonizing Mars. What are some of the high-tech technology that's actually coming out, that's actually being used, that you might want to use in your writing? They have hour-long panels on things like this. Everything you could possibly think of. Here's one: firearms. See, firearms in the Victorian era. Um, you know, pretty much anything, stuff you couldn't even imagine. Crowdfunding, just all kinds of the craziest stuff you ever imagined, and stuff that you might, you know, one of the elements that I used, and I actually had pinned this out in my outline for Pennsylvania, you know, 6 or 8 months ago, maybe 10 months ago, was the this kind of new phenomenon of printing, 3D printing. And I had kind of an idea of using 3D printing, which is coming out now in this futuristic world, as an antique thing of doing. It was kind of a way of looking back in time and utilizing some old technology, which to us is new technology. Well, they had a whole seminar on 3D printing and how it works and all of that. It's just and there's 20 or 30 of these things going on every hour for 5 days. You know, it's not just speakers, it's not just authors or artists. There's actually people that know stuff that are at these things. And so they had a. This was on Friday at 4 p.m. They had a whole class on nanotechnology. You know, at 4 p.m. All kinds of stuff, and so these things are very, very valuable, and we had a great time. Anyways, so back to my story. Hugh showed us around and showed us how all this worked, and he was a very, very gracious host, and we had a good time with him. And then so that was Friday, and then Saturday, Jennifer and I spent a lot of time going to some seminars and watching cartoons and all kinds of things. And some lady stopped us and gave us this ribbon, this blue ribbon here, for our costumes, because she thought we were in costume and this was actually our real clothes. And that was funny, but you know, it was really, really interesting. As we were walking around, a lot of people thought we were in costume, but about 90% of the people that actually stopped us realized that we weren't in costume. And they would actually stop us and say, "This is not a costume, this is how you dress." And we said, yeah, it is. So that was kind of interesting, and we got a lot of conversations. It was interesting to walk around with Hugh, and to us, you know, Hugh's this big star. He's a New York Times bestseller, and you know, in our writing community, he's one of the biggest things out there. And I don't know how many times we were walking around with Hugh and people stopped us and kind of pushed Hugh out of the way and wanted to take a picture of us, not even knowing that there was this world famous author that they were shuffling out of the way. That happened a lot, and I think Hugh got a kick out of that too. And I got a story to tell about that as we were leaving. But then Saturday night, Danielle and I went to the meetup with Hugh and a bunch of really, really cool people. And we got to meet some very, very cool people and some other writers and talented people, and Hugh Howey fans. And that was a blast. We had a really, really good time. I could have stayed there all night that night. It was that good. And it was fun to watch Hugh in his element there, and he did a really, really good job making everybody feel comfortable and talking to every single person, and then actually paid the bill for the whole party, which was amazing. And so on Sunday, you know, we had intended on staying for the Hugo Awards, which were Sunday night, but by that time I was so exhausted. You know, on Friday, the temperature was over 100, and we're used to that, but we're not used to the humidity. The humidity was so high. I spent a lot of time walking with Jennifer on Friday, and So we actually had decided that before we went to the George R.R. Martin deal, we were going to walk back to our hotel and walk back. And I had already walked a ton that day, and I started having cramps in my calves, and I haven't had cramps like that since I played football and basketball in Odessa in the 1980s. I mean, really, I mean, I needed an IV, really. And finally got to the point where I couldn't walk anymore, and we had to call Danielle on the phone, and she had to come pick us up because I had lost, I guess, so much electrolytes and everything that I was done. Well, by the time she came and got us, it was time to go back for the George R.R. Martin deal. And we hooked up with you, and we had some time, and he said, well, let's go back to the hotel, which was right there adjacent, and play ping pong. I love ping pong. I grew up playing ping pong. I haven't played in 20 years, but I love playing ping pong. And of course, ping pong requires some ample motion and bending over to pick up the ping pong balls. And so I was about half crippled. It's not an excuse because Hugh would have beaten me anyway because he was really good. But so I got beaten in ping pong by Hugh, and then Jennifer got to play too. And then so I'm going back forward to Sunday. So Sunday we decided to go. I was just so tired, so ready to be heading home, and so I contacted you and told him, hey, you know, we're heading out. We're going to go. And we were kind of disappointed that he was in a panel at the time, and we weren't going to get to meet up again and say goodbye and thank him for all the stuff he did for us. And he said, you know, well, you know, I'd like to see you before you go. And we said, you know, we're leaving. We're heading out right now. And so then we had to meet up with Danielle, and that took a while because she was at the mall. So we walked over to the mall, which is on the Riverwalk, and it took us a long time to find her and then to hook up with her, and then we were heading up the escalator. Hold on just a minute.